Hello, we've saved you a seat. This is Train Station at 8, a video game music podcast. I'm Steven, your host this week, and your host for the first time ever. And here with me is very, very, very recurring guest, Bryan, my brother.
Hello, I'm glad you deigned to have me on as a guest, Steven.
Oh, of course.
Happy to be here.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
After this hostile takeover of the podcast, I'm not sure what to think, but...
That's okay, though. It's not hostile, it's a friendly takeover. It's a friendly
that's a good point. Speaking of friendly, you have another guest here with us today, don't you?
Yeah, one of the friendliest, coolest people you'll see on the internet, Christophe Blondel. Hello.
Hello. I'm glad to be back here.
I am glad you're here as well. And also, for those keeping score, you're also known as CarboHydroM, and you're somewhat of a musician out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And you also have been on the show before. It was many, many episodes ago. It was Mario Kart, actually, right?
Yeah, Mario Kart 8. Mm-hmm. Great episode.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. You also contributed to our big year-end review kind of thing, I believe. So,
yeah.
Yeah, your voice has been on here a few times. So, Christophe, how's it been going since we last had you on the show? Anything fun going on with you?
Well, I've been doing a lot of different stuff, a lot of music, a lot of game development actually.
Ah.
Yeah, really, really, really busy.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that the game development project you had going, and it was like, and you were like waist deep in all of the details, and
yeah,
I hope that's been panning out for you.
Yeah, it's going all right. It's been all right so far, and yeah, I'm trying to make room for it, but there is always a lot of stuff coming down, and yeah, I manage, but I don't know when it will be out at all.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Are you doing the music for it, or what's your involvement in the project?
Yeah, I'm doing everything myself.
Oh, wow.
Like the whole code, there is not a game engine in there. I'm really writing everything from scratch. Yeah, so, and the usual stuff as well, the sound effects and music, of course.
Wow. That is crazy and awesome.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, just the thought of that sort of paralyzes me with fear. Just thinking of all these projects I have going and all these jobs I have going, and then to be building a game from the ground up, that is so intimidating.
Oh, yeah, but, to begin with, I'm a computer science engineer, so, writing code and stuff is what I did studies for, so it's not that intimidating, really.
Yeah, I would imagine that you'd have a leg up on me at least.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to learn, of course, a lot of stuff, but over time it became a lot easier, and it's not my first project at that, so yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Bryan and I don't want to get too off topic, but Bryan and I did dabble in a tiny, tiny bit of game design back in the day. Specifically, I mean, admittedly, we were mostly using RPG Maker, but still, it was game design. And I love the process, but I don't think I could have stuck with it to that extent. So,
yeah, it's
I wish
really
you all on that
interesting.
project. That's cool. Well, here's a little factoid for you guys. This episode is actually the 50th episode of Train Station at 8. But one could argue that the last episode we had with the Marcato Bros was also the 50th episode. And Bryan, do you know what I'm alluding to?
No.
Way back in the beginning, we had episode 1.5.
Wait, what?
Remember, we made an episode 1.5 because we had a weird schedule going on and we needed to shuffle the episodes around. So we had episode 1, 1.5, and then 2.
I think I remember this now. Yeah.
So if you go onto iTunes, they'll say that this is the 51st episode. But technically, it's the 50th episode.
So you're basically saying we ruined ourselves forever by doing that,
pretty much.
1.5. What even was that episode? Who was on?
Now I'm gonna feel really bad because I can't quite remember his name. Jim from
Crawford?
Frog Fractions.
Jim Crawford.
Thank you, Bryan.
Yeah, from Beard.
Yeah, it's the second episode we put out. So I guess, and you know what? This episode happens.
Oh, wait, no, that all was hilarious and funny because it was for Frog Fractions. So
right, exactly.
1.5. Now I remember
exactly.
that. Yeah. That was
so
good.
it was thematic. Yeah, so this is episode 50, and so was the last one. So speaking of which, I really recommend that everyone go back and listen to the past episode if you haven't already. We had it with all three of the Marcato brothers. We were talking about their tribute albums to Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. It was a fantastic episode in which we didn't talk very much because they had everything to say, and it was super interesting and fun. So yeah, go definitely check that out. And we're continuing with the Mario theme for the shared 50th episode.
Yes, absolutely.
So on that note, the song we're going with this week is actually Super Mario 64's theme, also known as Bob-omb's Battlefield. So that is one of my favorite songs in history, and we'll get to that soon enough. But before we do, how about we talk about what we've been listening to recently? Bryan, would you care to start?
Well, Stephen, I've been listening to Bob on Battlefield.
Good job. You did your homework.
Yes, I did. But since we're going to be talking about that in depth very soon, I'll try to focus on what else I've been listening to. I have been listening to the soundtrack for Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh.
Whoa.
Which, yes. Have you listened to that or played that game, Christophe?
No, I haven't yet, but I've heard a lot of good stuff of it. So
yes, the game's pretty rad, but what's way radder is the soundtrack. It's absolutely amazing stuff. I think you'd really enjoy it. They, one of the most fantastic things about it is they have this live, I think in-house in studio, though it might have been contracted out, rock band that does a lot of their stuff. And it's some of the most fantastic, like, instrumental rock stuff I've heard in a video game.
wow.
So high energy, so fun. They actually, for the release of Xenoblade on 3DS, released a video of them playing it live. A bunch of the different songs from the game, and it blows me away every time. So listening to that is always a pleasure, and just some of the non-rock, like more orchestral stuff in that game is awesome.
I also like, the driving rock for the boss battles is unbeatable, but I've been getting into the, the town songs recently.
Yeah, those are really good too.
They're really laid back and good to I've been kind of turning them on when I start the day. And it's just a good way to calm down and have an optimistic outlook on the rest of the day.
Yeah, the title screen is also fantastic. Very emotional, like piano solo type song.
Yeah.
It really runs the emotional spectrum. I think that's something that makes Japanese RPG music so good, is it's so rich and emotionally resonant in ways that a lot of Western music isn't. They're really more serious and atmospheric.
They kind of wear their hearts on their sleeves in a way.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, we're just gonna make like the most, lovable, heartfelt melodies we possibly can, and we don't care if it seems a little bit cheesy at times. And I really appreciate that in music. So Xenoblade soundtrack has been fantastic. Yeah. I'm actually going to pull up my iTunes here, see if there's anything else recently.
I'm kind of curious, Christophe, do you have any favorite Japanese RPG soundtracks, or are you into that style?
Oh, a good question, because I haven't played a lot of RPGs at all. It's not really my favorite genre of games. I enjoy listening to their soundtracks a lot, and I sometimes like to arrange those songs, but I haven't played a lot of games. I tried out a few, and I mostly watched my little sister playing those games, but that's all. And as far as soundtracks are concerned, I'd say Final Fantasy 6, 7, and perhaps Xenogears as well.
Oh, well, Xenogears was the not really a prequel, but it was the earlier game in the series for Xenoblade. Yeah.
Yeah. Same series.
Yeah. And I'm pretty inexperienced in the Japanese RPG scene. I know Western RPGs much better, and yet I tend to like Japanese RPG soundtracks more than Western soundtracks. So,
yeah, that's interesting.
I tend to like their aesthetic more as well.
Yeah, they just have more melody, more heart to it. But anyway, Bryan, so what else is in your library?
Well, we were alluding to this with our last episode, but I have been consistently listening to more Hello World from the Super Marcato Bros, which is that, well, I mean, anyone who's listened to this last episode knows in detail what this is, but, they're tribute albums to Super Mario World. What's really interesting about these is that, for you, Christophe, who's probably not listened to these before, it is original music, but written in the style of Super Mario Bros. To the point where they manually ripped all of the samples from the SNES and made the songs so they literally sound like they are Super Mario songs, just their new melodies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're new arrangements, but it's like an alternate universe soundtrack for Mario World 1 and 2, and it's incredibly authentic and incredibly impressive.
I need to check that out.
Yeah,
and they put themselves in the position where they will say, all right, here's the athletic tune from Yoshi's Island. And it's the original Koji Kondo. Then the same instruments, essentially, with a new melody, they're like, here's our athletic tune for our version of that game. And it's just, to compare yourself, and they are so aware of this, to compare yourself against Koji Kondo is like an impossible feat, and yet somehow they kind of hold their own and offer a new perspective on such a classic soundtrack. It's awesome.
Yes.
I
need to hear that.
That main melody, they spent a lot of time trying to come up with their overworld theme for the first album, and man, does it get stuck on my head. That is just a stellar melody. So
I woke up with it in my head today, no joke.
Yeah, I've done that several times. So huge fan of that. Beyond that, I think it's just been, playing what's on my iPod, kind of just shuffling my different playlists, listening to a bit of Spotify, but nothing super specific. So
great. Well, Christophe, what's up with you? Have you had time to listen to music recently?
Mostly fusion stuff lately. KCOP, the Japanese jazz fusion band from old, and some New York based band that I found out on Twitter thanks to my fellow composer AV.
Oh, cool.
It's called Snarky Puppy. It's from New York. Those guys are really great. I purchased the album, which is called I Like It Here, or We Like It Here. I think it's We Like It Here. And yeah, I've been waking up every morning to this album for the past month.
That's fantastic. Don't you love it when you find one of those albums that just sticks with you and you don't get tired of it, and so you just keep going and going and going?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with this one.
That's super cool. I gotta look that up.
And with that, I've been listening at work a lot of Super Mario 3D World sound music.
Oh yeah, such a good soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm since the beginning. As soon as I've heard that the soundtrack was performed by a live band and live instruments, I wanted to hear it, even though I haven't purchased the game yet. Mm-hmm. I didn't play the game except at a friend place or something. But yeah, the soundtrack is fantastic.
It's really exciting to see them carrying on the legacy of Mario Kart 8 with this idea of live instruments.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same feeling with a lot of fun in the soundtrack, with a lot more feeling and yeah, they even went so far as to arrange songs from the past episodes of Mario games. We're about to talk more about the Super Mario 64 main theme, which is arranged again in the slider theme, and the slider theme is in Super Mario 3D World. And then stuff from Super Mario Galaxy as well. Gutsy Garden theme that I I love from the bottom of my heart.
Mario games have been really on point with their soundtracks these days. Almost every console release is just wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I actually think that 3D World is bringing back some of my favorite aspects of Mario 64's soundtrack, which, again, we'll get into soon. But so that's cool that you've been listening to that too.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I don't know if we're going to get too much off topic, but I've been listening as well to some old Saint Seiya anime soundtrack.
Oh really?
Yeah, because the thing is, the soundtrack I have in mind for the game I've been trying to create is more or less in the same style as what I've heard from Saint Seiya. That sort of fusion with rock and orchestra.
Huh. Right. Yeah, I mean, I found like anime and a lot of games have really brought that rock orchestra fusion to the forefront, and I just love that style.
Yeah, it's awesome. And since it's the game I'm trying to write is some sort of cave-like shoot 'em up.
Uh-huh.
I think some sort of rock plus orchestra fusion would fit well, but I have to try it in game and see how it goes.
Right, because those games from the shoot 'em ups I've played, are you talking kind of like in the style of the like Ikaruga or the type of games that are like bullet hell type things? Yeah,
exactly. With a lot of stuff happening on screen. Yeah.
Yes, those games are very much about pumping you up, so you just have that adrenaline rush to get through. So that style sounds like perfect for me.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, what's interesting is recently I think there was a Humble Bundle all about shoot 'em ups. And so now
really?
I own just I think so. I somehow ended up with a whole mess of them. I don't think it's still going on. But in Steam, like let me look at Steam for a second. I have a whole section for it now.
I don't think I missed this.
Yeah, I had to. Here we go. I got like Reflex. Got
Signed Mora, right?
Yeah, I've got that one. I got Ikaruga. Like, I just got tons of them in here. Crimson Clover. I don't even know what these games are, but they're all shoot 'em ups.
Oh yeah, Crimson Clover is good. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's got like an 85 Metacritic, so...
I've seen some YouTube videos of like the types of shoot 'em ups that are out in Japan and people playing them, and it's just utterly terrifying.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing things I've seen. It's like watching Steve Vai play guitar. It's like, wait, what?
That shouldn't be possible, but yet it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Well, as for me, to continue on the old Mario train... Yes. I've been listening to I've been listening to the old, Super Smash Bros., the new Super Smash Bros. Soundtrack. I've just been, like, working my way through, starting with all of the Mario songs, essentially. And there is a whole soundtrack worth of just Mario music in Smash Bros. For Wii U and, 3DS. It's very fun seeing, which pieces the different, musicians decided to arrange, and to tie it all together. What are they called? Ace Plus or something?
Yes.
The people who made the Xenoblade battle songs. Mm-hmm. They had an insanely good Mario World arrangement.
I forgot they did that. Yeah.
In Super Smash Bros. So, that's really good.
So was that on that? Excuse me. Was that on that double disc they released?
No, I don't think they included that one. I listened to the whole promotional album that Club Nintendo sent out.
Yes.
If you registered both versions of the game or something. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, that's not enough, so I've just been looking up the rest on the internet.
Gotcha.
Because it only came with a handful of them. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I need to go back to the soundtrack. I think something I've been listening to that I need to go back to, I just haven't had a lot of time at my computer listening to music recently, is the Harmony of Heroes album. I'm almost to the end of that.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing stuff. So
yeah, it's amazing.
I really want to listen to that expansion pack you mentioned they put out, Steven, because I know you said the quality is even raised for that. So
best song on that, I think, is the it has lyrics, and it's a punchy, and no pun intended, radical song about Little Mac. I love that song. It's so creative.
Is it like an 80s kind of style?
It kind of is. And they like there's just these parts where they just yell.
So it's like if Punch-Out was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Kind of a little bit.
Nice.
It's what a creatively fueled album that is. My goodness.
Yes, indeed. But yeah. So anything else, Steven?
Oh, just a ton of, unorganized snippets here and there. I've been listening to Hello World as well, and just a lot of stuff on shuffle. So,
got it.
Yeah, I think we're safe to move on.
Alrighty.
To the main topic, which is Super Mario 64, the game.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a legendary
As opposed
game.
to Super Mario 64, the movie.
Don't even make jokes about that. So what's everyone's background with Mario 64? Christophe, did you play it when it first came out?
Pretty much, I think. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was like 15 or 16 years old, and by that time I didn't have yet the N64 system at home. I think I had rented it with a friend of mine, and we just started playing the game really excited. It was a really revolutionary experience to be able to control Mario in a full 3D environment with that completely new analog stick on the controller.
Right.
And yeah, it was so fun. We just couldn't stop playing. I can clearly remember skipping sleep like for perhaps 2 days, or I had really short nights. I didn't think about school at all. I was only thinking about beating the game as fast as possible.
Because admittedly, that's more important than learning, because the life lessons that you will discover through the completion of getting all the stars in Mario 64 will certainly, supersede a science test or something.
Perhaps, I don't know. But yeah, the most important thing for me by that time was that I had rented the game for only two or 3 days, and I had to go as far as possible in the game. I wanted to beat it, but I think I couldn't beat it. I think I could get like 70 or 80 power stars or something, but I couldn't go as far as the 120 ones.
Yeah, that's it. So I really like those old games because it's like there is a certain magic to them. They finally had unlocked this third dimension. And so everyone, the developers and the players all seemed so excited to try everything out. Like, can you jump up there? That's a whole new mystery. Can you get on top of the castle? I don't know. There are rumors. It was such a fantastic experience. I think, Bryan and I had a bit of a different introduction to it just because we were so late coming to the console. I guess the GameCube was almost out by the time we got Super Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so late,
by that time, we weren't, amazed with the sheer fact that it was in 3D. We had already been playing numerous 3D games before that.
Oh.
And it kind of took us a while to warm up to it. But
the same thing happened to us with Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
We did that as well.
Yeah, exactly. I had played Super Mario World a whole bunch, and I loved that.
In fact, Super Mario 64, it's a funny story with both that and Ocarina of Time. These are both games we owned briefly, didn't enjoy, and returned on our N64. We were like, we just spent all our time playing Super Smash Bros. And then got them back later. We may have even played Super Mario 64 to completion after we had played Mario Sunshine.
Oh, really?
To completion, potentially, but I'm pretty sure we owned those games at the same time.
Yeah.
We had a very strange, off the beaten path road to video games. Just our parents didn't want us to have video games, so we had to talk them into it. And so we always had consoles really late. And so we had to kind of mooch off of friends. It was that whole situation. But once we understood what Mario 64 was about and why the exploration was so darn fun, we pretty much tore the whole game apart, played all the levels, got almost all the stars. Did we ever 100%
No, that darn clock level. I died so much there.
I think that's like the only part where the controls start to actually fail the game.
Yeah. Or fail us at least.
Maybe we just failed now that I think about it.
Yeah. I think that the controls and just how that game works is more fascinating to me than most 3D platformers because it's like, I think what gives it so much lasting appeal to me is the like athleticism in the game and the types of controls they have. It feels like you're actually having to try hard to navigate the world rather than just find all the collectibles in it. So it feels more like a 2D platform brought to 3D. While games like, Donkey Kong 64 or Banjo-Kazooie or modern stuff like Assassin's Creed, it's kind of like you see a place and getting there isn't actually difficult. It's just about finding all the different places. But in Mario 64, they actually set up these obstacle courses where traversing them was a matter of using the game mechanics to get there and really learn how the jumps and physics worked in detail. And I think that's kind of what makes it so timeless.
Yeah, I think so.
If you compare it to Super Mario World, for example, that game is a linear 2D left to right obstacle course. That is absolutely what the old Mario games were. And so it seems like what they did for Mario 64 was they simply said, okay, it's the same concept. You're this little dude who can jump really high and that's it. He doesn't have like any other powers really. He can jump once. He can wall jump and, I guess he can triple jump now. But that's just extra additions to the main, to the core concept. Now that it's been opened up into 3 dimensions, all of these new, perspectives offer new challenges too. So now instead of just being able to jump straight up onto a ledge, you've got to wall jump onto that ledge. And I think once they figured that out, they just had a whole game right there for them. They just had to get it right.
Yeah. It's just always fun in Super Mario 64. There's this feel of like, I found a different way to get up here. Like, you go the long way, but if you do this specific, that jump where you take a hard turn and do that half flip and then wall jump twice and then get to the top, it's like you feel you figured that out yourself. And found a way to trick the game almost.
We spent an hour trying to jump up the side of the castle wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to time it right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or find the right place to land or something. It was really hard sometimes.
So
I enjoyed it.
But speaking of the music from Mario 64, it kind of took the same approach, I think. Because it was now 3D, everything had to slow down a little bit. You could, dash through a Mario World level in no time, but in Mario 64, it's you'll spend a really, really long time in one level. It's all about exploration and adventure and climbing a giant mountain or something. And I think that the music followed suit with that. If you listen to the tempo of the athletic song or the overworld song from Mario World and compare it to the stuff used in Mario 64, everything's been slowed down to a much more leisurely pace. It's a bit more relaxing even.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right that the music reflects that because it's a little slower in tempo, a little more meandering, a little bit more just fun and less, pumping up to go, go, go. Which I feel old Mario soundtracks were a little more based around.
Yeah. And, one thing that I was listening to the whole soundtrack a few times to prepare for this episode. And one thing that stuck out to me big time was the percussion.
Yeah, I was noticing that exact thing on this song.
And it's so different from what the old Mario games had, which tended to be, I always go back to Mario World, but that's kind of the biggest example. It seemed like a lot of the percussion were kind of very fast-paced bongos or, whatever play when you jump on Yoshi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But in Mario 64, it almost turns into this, snazzy, pseudo-jazz drum beat kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Very jazzy.
Yeah, and it chills everything out. It's suddenly, gives you a different pace. You're not run. You're kind of kind of run and hop and look around this world and that's what's up there. And, I was something I never noticed until yesterday pretty much. But it's a big change. I thought it was cool.
I agree with that. And I noticed that exact same thing. The bass and the drums in these songs are just, much more jazzy, much more modern, much more chill than Mario's typically been. Almost cool, not quite, but no.
I don't know. Bowser's pretty cool, man.
Oh, you're right. The Bowser music is. I almost wish we were discussing that because I absolutely love the Road to Bowser song. It blew my mind when I realized that was, I believe, the basis for the theme song of Smash Brothers Melee. It's like, whoa, this is the same melody.
Oh, that's right.
I was incredibly surprised when I figured that out.
Or even the Bowser, like, actual boss battle. Christophe, have you ever considered covering that? Because I would like to hear that.
There are a lot of songs in the soundtrack that I've thought of for an actual arrangement, but in the end, the only one I've done for now is the slider theme.
That is such a fun classic.
Yeah, because for me it was really standing out. It was one of these songs that you're playing, and if the music is not there, the level doesn't have the same value.
Oh, I completely agree with that. It sets the pace and the tone. It's like the number one thing you're going to remember from that.
Yeah, but yeah, there are other themes that attracted me, like the Dire Docks theme when you're underwater. It's really, really chill. It's really by far the most relaxing song in Mario history up to that point, I think. Yeah, and you can get it wrong. A lot of people have covered it to date. There are all sorts of versions for that theme. There are rock versions and acoustic ones, and every one of them is really, really sounding cool.
Yeah, one I kind of want to shout out is it's a pretty old one from DJ Pretzel over at OC Remix. I don't quite remember the name, but I really like that one. It retains the spirit, but gives it a whole, gives it kind of brings it to the next level in a way.
Something interesting about Mario 64 is, like, do you think there's, like, an overriding theme to the music, or is it just kind of, like, whatever suits what's going on at the time?
I think that there's a bit of an overall theme, but I think Koji Kondo, who, by the way, composed the entire soundtrack, for those who don't know, I feel like he was a little more interested in the idea of variation and, what's the word I'm looking for? Mood, I suppose. So I think he took a handful of a few melodies and a few moods or tones he was trying to set, and then filled in the gaps with fun little extras. That's personally how I see it.
That makes sense. I feel that was kind of the goal of the game as well.
Yeah, I think so. But probably the best way to illustrate what the music sounds like is to actually play some of the music.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know. It's radical, man. But let's listen to the Super Mario 64 theme, which plays at Bob-omb Battlefield, which is the first level. That was the Super Mario 64 theme, aka Bob-omb Battlefield, from Super Mario 64. And my first question to pose to you guys is,
yes,
Is that a Bob-omb singing
Yes.
the main melody? It sounds a lot like,
absolutely is.
because the Bob-ombs have that whoop, 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 whoop voice, right? And that's gotta be what it is. I love it.
This is the Bob-omb crooning a good one
Yeah.
for all his Bob-omb pals.
So,
I just want to know what the lyrics are. Is he just singing about how fun it is to jump in cannons? And like,
well, that's what the whole song sounds like. It sounds like a leisurely stroll through the most fun world you will ever visit. So I kind of have my own opinion set up for this, but what genre does this remind you guys of the most? Like, if you could pick a style of music, where would you put this?
I'm thinking.
Something like jazz fusion, for example.
Yeah. There's absolutely some jazz in there. I'm positive of that.
I
Yeah,
can
but-
see it being played in a big band style, but it's melodically not quite big band for me.
Yeah, I think I'm an exact combination of your two insights. Especially when you hear those brass hits, those bum 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 bum, all that stuff
Yeah.
seems like it's just meant to be played with, a full, big band. But when you listen to the melody, that's just like some weird organ synth bob-omb singing. It doesn't really have the right pace for a big band.
I mean, it's video game music.
Yeah, it's
like-
Koji Kondo music is what it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's really hard to place, but that's kind of why I was saying before, why I think Super Mario 3D World kind of brought back some of the motifs and ideas from Mario 64. Because that game really did go for a big band style, especially for the credits. And I feel like many Mario games have not. They've diverged into, soaring orchestral stuff from Super Mario World, Super Mario Galaxy and whatnot. But I always thought of, this song as being big band. And so it kind of warmed my heart when they went back in that direction.
Yeah, that's a good point. In terms of like the instrumentals, especially like in Mario 3D World and that sort of stuff, I don't even know it's a return to form because Mario never had quite been able to do that before, but it was finally bringing to full life the idea that Mario had big band influences.
Yeah.
And like, okay, here you go. We are just going to play this, awesome, rambunctious, like 40s style staff roll. And it was a beautiful thing.
And there's so much like creativity and like even maturity to the way that Koji Kondo puts this song together. Because not only do you have kind of that main melody that the bob-omb sings and then the brass takes over, but there are all these little brass hits throughout it. And so it's like constantly jumping around as Mario is jumping around. It's one of those iconic songs as far as I'm concerned.
There are the three main sections of the song. You've got the main melody, of course, is the bob-omb sings. Then you have the breakdown where the brass is hitting all of the different chords, just kind of those descending notes. And then there's just a fun little breakdown when it's going dun 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 dun. Like, which of those three segments, Steven, do you think like is your favorite of the song? Because like every time I hear one, I didn't think that one is like the one I enjoyed the most.
Well, as I've said before, I'm very partial to the singing bob-omb.
Right.
That's just truth.
Singing Bob-on is the name of a very popular tavern in Mario lore.
Yeah. All right,
Singing
guys, let's
Bob-omb.
go. let's grab some beers back at the singing bob-omb now that we have. That's a good question, Brian. I think that maybe my favorite part is the sheer enthusiasm that when it circles back, and keeps bringing it down that scale with the horns.
Right.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. I love those hits, those individual strikes of the
I thought
brass.
that'd be it. You really love that.
Well, I make no bones about the fact that I love big band music, especially in video games, especially in Mario. So that's true. But like, okay, so Christophe, here's a question for you. When you first played this game, did you really notice the music, or were you so caught up in everything else that it kind of went over your head? I don't even remember.
Yeah, of course. The music is pretty much the first thing I paid attention to. As soon as the game started, not during the title screen sequence, because it was more or less disappointing on the title screen. All I could hear was those percussions and nothing else, because I did not, listen to the music long enough to start hearing the main Mario theme coming back. So all I heard at the beginning when I started playing was those percussions, very improvisating and stuff. So I started playing and I just skipped that part. And when I started the actual game, the demo sequence and then the castle theme started. It felt really different from what I heard in the past Mario series games, and it was really interesting. And when the first level started, when the Bob-omb world was open, that theme was really refreshing. It felt so jazzy, like what you're used to in Mario games, and at the same time it was a bit different, like you said earlier, slower and a bit more engaging as well towards exploration. It was really different in that vein. So, and then all those different themes that you could hear in the game, like the slider one. The fact that the main theme is taken once again, but arranged differently in the snow levels.
And that's a huge thing that Koji Kondo is into, especially in this game, which is just the idea of variations.
Yeah.
And how subtly he uses them. It took me years to understand that the slider song was the same as the Bob-omb Battlefield song.
Right. In Mario World, knowing that the castle theme was the overworld theme, I figured that out 6 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Whoa!
And that's
I don't think, does Super Mario 64 have a minor version of the theme? A dark version? Because Koji Kondo's pretty into that, in some other games,
I don't. I think that he thinks of new themes for most of the scary stuff and the boss battles.
That's what I thought.
Unless I'm missing something really.
We're gonna find out some watershed moments. Oh no, he did it for this too. I never knew that.
But that is I think a really important, technique that Koji uses.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
In Mario 64, it's like, it's yet another fun secret, I feel. Like when you find that secret slider level, and then you realize that the secret slider level is actually the main theme that you already love. It's just icing on the cake of all the things there are to discover in that castle.
Yeah, and subconsciously you already know the music when you get there. So you really feel at home when you start hearing it.
And the cool thing is, even if at first you don't quite get it, it's like, well, the notes are so different. This is like a frenetic banjo solo. How could this be the same song?
Yeah.
But then in your head, if you think, all right, I'm going to play all of the notes from Bob-omb Battlefield in my head to the timing of this song, suddenly it all makes sense. It's really cool.
Yeah. And same goes for the Snow Mountain level as well. It's really the same. But arranged in a different style with different instruments, with the reindeer sound.
Oh yeah.
It really makes sense.
And so, Bryan, you mentioned before that it took you, I guess I did as well. It took us a long time to understand that the music was so variation focused. How long have you held a deep appreciation for Mario 64 music? Do you think that you caught onto it when you first played it?
No.
No. That was kind of going to be my answer, but then I thought back. I think Mario 64 was one of those games where I understood that the music was something special almost right away.
I think I had a vague sense of it. I wouldn't say I fully appreciated it, but I think the castle theme did always stick with me.
Yeah. Like, even when we'd explain it back when we were, like kids or young teenagers, when we were much less intelligent. Yes. We definitely knew that a huge portion of that castle's mystique was due to that song. Which, by the way, would have been yet another good song to spotlight. That's one of my favorite Mario songs.
The File Select song.
Oh, the File Select song. It's short, but just... who loves that song is Joe Walker.
Yes.
We've had him on the show a few times. I think that might be his favorite song ever. It's you're nostalgic for it before you play the game, and that's pretty extreme.
But yeah, I got an appreciation for the music much more later, but even early on, I think the, Koji Kondo's in an interesting spot because he is writing music that needs to resonate with people who aren't necessarily going to be, like, musically advanced.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people playing his games are going to be very young and aren't going to be like, oh, the chord progression is exquisite when listening to the slide theme or something. So he has to create something like really catchy melodies that resonate. And he does that incredibly well while also doing it on a high level of composing talent. So you can appreciate it on a deeper level as well.
Yeah. You can go back.
The Disney of music.
Yeah. You can be an adult and create a podcast about video game music and go back and analyze the games you played in the 90s, or you can actually play them in the 90s and just subconsciously be having a good time.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Right. I should say the Disney of video game music, because it's a concept I think Disney also understood with all their musicals and stuff.
Super true. Really and something both Koji Kondo and Disney did was when they would create their catchy songs, they would go back to really old styles of music, really simple styles of music. Show tunes and ragtime and big band, and it just has this kind of classic feel to it.
It's another reason, I think the soundtrack, another thing that I think that is really well, captivating young audiences and musically advanced audiences at once. In Star Wars, when George Lucas bucked the trend of, having disco or electronic or whatever kind of music for sci-fi and just said, just because that's the rage right now, we're going to go for melodically rich, classical, like orchestral music.
Yeah.
And make it timeless that way, but also captivating, towards, everyone, children, adults, etc. I think that's melodically strong is the way to go for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Koji Kondo hits that out of the park in all of the Mario games. And Mario 64 is absolutely no exception for that.
And that's just yet another reason why variation is so important, because once he hits upon that perfect theme, then it can shoot straight into your blood and just get into your brain forever, because it keeps popping up in other areas with different emotions attached to it.
Right.
It's really...
Repetition is a huge part of music.
Right. It's very clever. And speaking of repetition, I kind of wanted to talk about the combination of the new, slower paced, jazzier music that, Koji Kondo was kind of, bringing forth, and old Mario music. Cause there's some old stuff in there. There's some, callbacks to the very first games.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think this is one of the finest examples of a game tackling this. Because the core music you're going to hear, the big, fresh, bold, new stuff, the castle theme, the Bob on Battlefield, Bowser's theme, that's all brand new stuff and sets the tone for the game. But every once in a while, you get a really classy look back at the old music. Like you're saying, Christophe, there's that kind of a percussion drum solo thing at the title screen that then brings in I don't know if they're mallets or steel drums or what, but then it starts playing the original Mario theme.
Yeah, I think those are steel drums. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just kind of sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point where Mario's head is floating around in 3D or something? It's a very surreal thing.
Yeah, when the invincibility themes are revisited with the, you know, when you get all metallic, when the,
Yeah.
with those, differently arranged, invincibility themes, like when you've got the flying cap and the metal cap. Those are the same things, but very cleverly arranged. And when you're in Metal Mario, you really feel like you're Terminator running and destroying everything. It's really cleverly done.
And when it like jumps into that soaring melody for the wing cap, it's like, I'm flying! Oh my gosh!
So both of those for the wing cap and the Metal Mario cap, they're both themes of empowerment. The core of it is you're invincible. You can do something super duper special and you only have a certain amount of time, which is what that very original, invincibility theme was about. But then he layered the perfect elements on top of that to bring it into this new world. One is a soaring, string solo. Up and down as you fly through the sky. The other one is just a bunch of orchestra hits punching you in the face because you are invincible and you are going to pound everything in your way.
Mechanically, like, the music is conveying to you what you're supposed to do with this power.
Yeah.
Like, kind of the music is giving you a hint of how you should be playing the game at that moment. Because it's like when you have the flying cap, it's giving you kind of the rhythm of going down and then up and continuing to fly. And when, like you said, when you have the Metal Mario cap, it is a cap you get for that, right?
I think so.
Or is it? No, it's a little like exclamation block thingy. I don't know.
Oh, well.
Anyway, when you turn into Metal Mario, whatever gives you that. It's very much an idea of empowering you to just smash into things. So the idea of tying music into gameplay like that is actually super interesting.
Yeah. And to me, the strings that Koji Kondo added to the invincibility theme just completed a song that I didn't know was incomplete. I really, really love that.
I've heard that this string solo originally came from Yoshi Island, but since I have not played the game as much as Super Mario World, I'm not sure about that.
Oh,
perhaps it's only an improved version that we can hear in Super Mario 64, and it's not the real first version of it.
That totally could be. I haven't played Yoshi's Island in a really long time. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. I need to be sure about that sometime.
I'm listening to it right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, send that to me. I want to see it.
All right, I'll post the link in here. But yeah, it goes to. I don't think it's strings playing, but it does the whole melody.
Oh, wow, now it's just the Starman theme from Yoshi's Island, huh?
Yep.
Wow!
So that was kind of like these, what do you say, he was, for the sequel, for Mario World, it's like, well, I'll try to, innovate on this a little bit, but in how he arranged it is still fantastic.
That's really interesting.
Yep.
Cool. The last, classic Mario song that I can really think of is the Underground theme.
Oh, yes.
Yet another, brilliant attempt at modernizing a classic.
Remind me where that plays in this game.
The cave levels, I think.
Okay.
The one that's all spooky with the spiders and the water.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. Okay.
It's actually really subtle because it brings in the very, that dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's very subtle. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. You're like, wait, is that what I think it is? And then slowly but surely the percussion comes in and it plays the rest of the song, and yet again it sets a completely different mood, but it is very much that original song from the original game. Oh man, Mario 64 is such a smart game! They did everything so well.
Oh yeah, and there were also the looping steps
Oh yes, that's a really good point.
That song was really mysterious for me at the first time I heard it. I was sort of more wondering why I couldn't hear when the song was looping at all. I was wondering how it could go on forever and forever and forever. It was really puzzling at first. Then years later, I understood that it was something doing with the volume of the melody that was fading in or fading out.
Right. They would trick you into thinking if the scale was continuing to go up when really it was reset.
And the sound Koji Kondo chose for the main melody on this song is really the wisest choice he could have made.
Yep.
It's perfectly going with this fading, fade out effect, and I don't know. It's really clever.
That's something that really sticks out in Mario 64 in general, is how closely tied the music is to the gameplay. Like,
yeah,
that's something so cool about Nintendo having these in-house composers that are obviously like with the design team every single step of the way. And I think that's something that's harder in modern game design because of how many steps there are to recording with the orchestra and all of that.
Yeah,
but I think it can be difficult to keep this level of closeness with all the different aspects of the game and the music.
Mm-hmm. And Mario 64 soundtrack is ultimately fairly small. It's, I've listened to it 3 times in a row, in one day. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's true. It's really short.
And
if you compare it to Super Mario Galaxy soundtrack and Super Mario 3D World as well. It's really short.
It felt so personal and it felt so heartfelt. And we've been all over the map with all the different songs, but kind of bringing it back to the theme, or the Bob on Battlefield theme, I think everything we've talked about relates to that, where it's this brand new world, but it still feels so distinctly, comfortably Mario.
Yeah.
It still feels classic. It still feels like it would be something that could have been played in the 50s, but is, now being sung with bob-ombs. And so we've all come back to the same place we've always been. And now I really want to play Mario 64.
We need to go back on the Wii U.
Yeah, we do. We should probably do that right now. Which might be a good excuse to also end the episode, unless you guys had anything else to say that I missed. Have we covered everything? What's interesting, Brian? I just realized that we did the case study, or an in-depth look at the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack. Mario 64... What's that? What did you say?
I said yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Not too important. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Man, Mario 64 would be a good candidate for that. I'd love to research more about this.
We should have the Marcato brothers on and do that.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah. Maybe we can say that for our next milestone. What's that? Episode 75?
51.
Yeah, okay. We'll aim for that. All right. Well, let's move on then to the outro. Okay. And the thing I wanted to head out, or start off with, was our iTunes reviews.
Yes! I've been meaning to get to those, and I'm a bad host because I haven't.
Yeah, we kind of stopped checking iTunes at some point out of sheer busyness and forgetfulness, and we realized that we've gotten a couple of 5-star reviews that we never thanked anyone for.
Yep.
So, we only have a couple of them. They're pretty short, but I'd like to read them off and give props to where they're due.
Yes.
So, the first one is by RayGuy16, and I really hope that that's because he likes Rayman. I'm not sure, but we're going to pretend that.
Or he's like the bootleg spin-off of Rayman guy.
Yeah, could be. Or isn't that just Gex? I don't know. So he gave us 5 stars and said, "Fun sitting back with the guys." And the summary says, "This podcast is like talking to your friends about VGM. Lots of fun and a unique format." Which is awesome, because that completely sums up what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
you should just read his review at the top of the show.
Yeah, welcome to Train Station at 8, a podcast about talking to your friends about VGM. It's lots of fun and has a unique format.
There you go.
So thank you, Ray Guy. That was very nice of you.
Yes.
Thanks for taking the time. And the next one is by Vanilla Yeti. Nice. Also 5 stars. And he says, "Out of all the many video game podcasts I listen to, Train Station at 8 has a unique setup with focusing on one song from a game. The hosts are interesting," that's us, and have a vast knowledge and appreciation of games. Wow, that's a nice compliment. He didn't say that. I did.
Vast knowledge. We have definitely duped.
Yeah.
This Yeti man, we are.
Great reference to Animal Crossing, and it's good to see other grown men that are not afraid to admit their love for that series.
I'm not afraid at all, sir.
No, we're proud of it. And he concludes with, keep them coming, and I did like the break from the usual format with the randomly selected tracks.
Cool.
And that was our roulette episode, where we just shuffled through our iTunes.
Just random music from your iTunes library, and all of it was Sega and Soul Calibur.
Yeah. And then Marcato, was it Will or Carl who said they liked that?
Will said he liked it.
Will liked it, and and Vanilla Yeti liked it, so maybe we should do it again sometime.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Maybe we should invite someone else onto the show and have them
do their
and have them shuffle through their iTunes library randomly. That's
a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good idea. We need to look into that.
So yeah, that's what we got. Thank you, Ray Guy 16 and Vanilla Yeti. That was very, very nice of you. We really appreciate the reviews.
Absolutely.
And if you'd like to keep up with us, you can do so on Twitter. We're TrainStation8 over there. Get the same thing on Facebook. And our email is trainstation8@gmail.com. We're, of course, part of the Whale or Whales Network, which is a show or a network with all kinds of shows, like this one with super cool people like us. You can find me personally on Twitter at StephenKelly180. Brian's Lord Meldor. That's Lord Meldorr. And Christophe, is there anything you'd like to plug while you're here?
Well, you can find me on my main website, which is CarboHydroMusic.com, and I have some music which is free available for download at www.carbohydrom.net. You can just help yourself and get any theme I've covered. It's all free.
Awesome.
And, yeah, you can find me as well on Twitter at CarboHydroM, and Facebook and YouTube, and well, I try to be as much as I can everywhere.
Yeah, that's smart. We try, sometimes we fail, but we do try as well. And man, your music has been coming up a ton in my iTunes, just 4-star and 5-star music playlists.
Oh, awesome.
It's just over and over again. I'm like, okay, this is good. What are we going to start off with now? Oh, good, Unsealed. I have time for this again.
Oh, right.
Unsealed was like the massive Legend of Zelda medley that Christophe put together. It's pretty rad stuff.
20-something minutes or something, right?
Yeah, the latest version is 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
It was really exhausting to put together.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But I think that pretty much wraps it up for the show. So thanks everyone for listening, and thanks everyone for coming. Christophe, it was a pleasure having you here again.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
Of course. And Brian, it was even a pleasure having you as well.
Thanks for having me again. I hope you have me on next week.
I'll see what I can do. Alright, well, we're going to call it a day. Probably go download Super Mario 64 on multiple machines. And until then, we'll see you around. So keep listening to video game music. That's what I got. Bye.